Hi, this is Makonas Pokane, the leader and the founder of Church Governance Solutions. I want to continue with the topic that we started yesterday, and today, speaking again about managing church finances. And this is part 2 of the topic that we started yesterday, managing church finances, part 2. And that's very important that we deal with finances in the church and how to manage them. And I know there are many of the pastors that have got into the ministry. Money is streaming into the church. They just don't know how to manage the finances. And that is very important that we deal with this type of topics, because that will help many churches. And many churches shall survive, because we know that there are a lot of ministries that have actually fallen by the wayside because of poor management of finances. And we have spoken about this topic in the past few days, and I want to emphasize that we need to therefore make sure that we handle finances in an appropriate manner. Because the more you handle the finances in an appropriate manner, the more you are actually supporting the ministry and protecting it as well from falling by the wayside. First of all, church finances should be seen as public money, and they must be treated as such as well. When you see church finances as public money, you will start to realize that it is not your money. You'll start to realize that it belongs to the people. Therefore, people are deserving to know what is happening with their money. Now, I want to emphasize that church finances as public money should be treated as public money, should be respected as you respect the people that contribute the money itself. So therefore, let the owners of the money be able to know how much the money is and how is the money being used. And that's very important. And that is what we talk about when we're talking about treating that as public money and treating that likewise. That's very important that you do so. Secondly, appoint people with unquestionable integrity when it comes to handling finances. People that fear God, people that trust God, people that are faithful when it comes to money matters. And I must emphasize that it is not just a question of somebody being born again. It's not just a question of somebody being a child of God, belonging to the church. Money is money, and money is tempting. And that's the reason why the Bible says you cannot serve two masters. And it's actually comparing God not with the devil, but comparing God with mammon, which is money. Because money is tempting. Money is a certain God that many worship. Money is a certain God that many people lose morals and discipline when it comes to money. And that's the reason why we speak about this and say even in church, you'll have people that are not disciplined when it comes to church money. They will steal the money and they will fill up their coffers and they will pay themselves actually transport money for the following day with the money from the basket. And I must emphasize this and without compromise. And I must emphasize this without apologizing as well, that there are people that steal church money. There are. And that's very important that we emphasize that. Now, please make sure that you appoint people with unquestionable integrity when it comes to money. And that's very important. People that fear God when it comes to money. People that have got a track record of handling money appropriately without stealing it. And that's very important. If you get to those, then you've got important people that you can use when it comes to money matters in the church. Thirdly, proper records should be kept. Records of finances. They must be kept so that we know exactly what is the intake of this church. How much money does come in the church and how much money comes out for what reason? And that's very important. So all those records must be kept. And I must emphasize as well that avoid dishing out money from the basket directly, because that is going to make you lose control of managing the finances, because every money that you collect will go to the hands of the people. You may not even know how much you are making per month, how much money comes through per month, and therefore it's going to be very difficult for you to budget for this ministry and be able to run it appropriately with a proper budget. So therefore, make sure that even if you have to reimburse somebody for transport, whether it's a keyboard player, whether it's anybody drummist or a singer, a worshiper, you want to give them money for transport, don't take it directly from the basket. No. Make sure that the money is banked and what you give them is withdrawn from the bank and recorded properly. Because when you do so, then you'll manage the money much more appropriately. If you're having people for miscellaneous things that you need to give them money, or petty cash that you need to give them money, let the petty cash be withdrawn from the bank so that it can be recorded as well. It can be managed. It can have records. We can be able to account for it as well. Very, very important. Don't take it directly from the basket, because you may not know how much money got in, and your records will be mixed up because of that. So therefore, records of money should be kept in the church, and church must be respecting how money is managed in the church, and therefore record it appropriately. That's very, very key that we emphasize that. You need to appoint financial board with full of experience and full of knowledge of managing finances. So in other words, as the more the church grows, it is going to be very important for us to consider having what we call financial board, what we call board that is managing finances only. And that's very important that we have people like that, but those people should be experienced in money matters. There should be accountants, people that know how to manage money, bankers, for instance, people that can manage money. So you need people of knowledge of money, people that can actually balance books when it comes to money, people that understand the ledger, people that will understand the accounting principles. And that's very important, because when you have people like that, they will manage the money appropriately. But of course, I've mentioned that let these people be God-fearing people in any case. As much as they've got experience, they've got the knowledge, we need them to be God-fearing people. Because the God-fearing people, therefore, you can guarantee of the unquestionable integrity that they have, that they will look after the money and not be tempted to steal it. And that's very key that we look at that. Now, the church board, therefore, it needs to be people of experience. It needs to be people of knowledge when it comes to finances. We're speaking about now the financial board. Because the financial board that we're speaking about might be different from the general church board. These are now specific people that are dealing with the finances. There are specific people that know how to deal with money. And they are separate from the general administration board, or what we call a spiritual board, which is a group of preachers that are in the board or eldership board of the church. So different from them, you're speaking now here about the financial board. That's very, very key. The other thing is you must have a bank account as a ministry, and the bank account should be managed properly. And it must actually be having a mandate, or what we call a signatory mandate of the bank that is consisting of not less than 3 people, because that's very important. Because when it's only one person, they are tempted. When it's 2 people, they can agree and make a meeting to withdraw the money and finish it. But 3, 4, 5 people, it's always a bit difficult to negotiate with people, because people cannot be the same. So therefore, I want to emphasize that to safeguard the monies of the church, to manage the church finances appropriately, we need to make sure that we have got a bank account. Not only that, but the mandate of signatories of the church is actually not fewer than 3, because that's very important, because people need to really have proper structure, proper negotiation platform for the finances to be withdrawn with proper reasons, of course, and not expose people as individuals to withdraw the money, because by so doing, you're actually running them or putting them into temptation, and you might actually lose the money easily. And that's very important point that we need to mention. But I need to also mention that you need to handle the finances with proper accounting principles. Now, we've mentioned this in the previous lesson, but accounting principles in this case, we're making sure that you need to have books, record, make sure that you balance, make sure that you put the money into the bank and bank it, make sure that you've got a proper balance between the income and the outcome, which is now the expenditure. And that's very important that we balance the books that way and know that we've got a good balance and the differences between the cost and the income. And that's very important to balance those. But you need people with proper accounting principles that can do that. That's very key. We've mentioned it in the past, and I want to just emphasize that once more. Ensure proper auditing, and submit also returns to revenue services. That's very important. And I know that many churches are non-profit organizations, but you still need to submit your tax returns as well, even though you are non-profit organization, because this is very important to make sure that you comply by the revenue services and submit your returns every year, and so that you are known to be a non-profit organization, but that is compliant to the taxman by actually submitting your returns to the taxman. But it's very important also to get auditors, and very frequently as well, to make and do auditing so that we can be able to know that our books are in good order and our finances are therefore protected and are in good order as well. So I need to emphasize that auditing is very important, because if you have to be checked, and we need to make sure that the books are in correct order and the proper auditing has been done, and therefore finances are well managed in this particular church. And that's very key and very important. And allow me to end up here today. Your host, Makona Spokane. Thank you very much for listening to us and be part of this great topic. And I hope that has helped you a great deal. May the good Lord bless you, and allow me to say cheers for now.